Hi, everybody. This is August 8th, 2023. It's been 331 days since I visited with my little brother, Paul Kierans, who is profoundly mentally handicapped with Down syndrome. So we have missed 93 scheduled visits. I had an agreement with his group home, L'Arche, that I could visit with him for an hour on Thursday and 5 hours at my apartment right here on Saturday, and that L'Arche would drop him off and pick him up. So L'Arche has allowed me to speak with him on the phone for 10 minutes on Friday if they say he's willing to come to the phone. And initially they would never let him come to the phone. And I drafted an affidavit. I swore an affidavit about that, and then now they let him come to the phone. The last visit that we had on this past Friday, he seemed sedated. He seemed groggy. He didn't seem as alert as he did in previous visits. So as some of you may know, we had our trial or a hearing about who will be his committee or his substitute decision maker. I had applied to be his substitute decision maker when L'Arche had terminated his visits the first time in January of 2022 on the basis, purportedly on the basis of the COVID-19 epidemic. And if any of you are in this situation, you should know that it is not the policy, and it goes against the policy of the Fraser Health Authority in British Columbia and the British Columbia Centre for Disease Control to isolate long-term care residents from their essential visitors, which I'm the only person left in the Lower Mainland of British Columbia who can visit my brother. So the hearing last week was very exciting. As I pointed out, my friend of 60 years and my former sister-in-law, Eleanor Cowan, flew in from Edmonton and stayed for 2 days to give evidence. And the evidence that she gave was that she was confident in my abilities to be a decision maker for my brother, and that she was not confident in the abilities. I have an 81-year-old nun sister in North Bay, Ontario, who's a member of a religious order. And 10 months after I applied to be Paul's decision maker, she applied also. She filed a petition, and she's hired 2 law firms, one in Ottawa and one in Vancouver, to represent her. I've been representing myself. I had set up a GoFundMe account to pay for the psychologist report or the medical reports that are required for this type of a hearing. And what ended up happening is my sister paid for the medical reports. And so I used the $800 of the $1,035 that have been raised so far to pay Dr. Larry Prevanik. He's probably the most senior, he's 81 years old and probably the most senior practicing psychologist in British Columbia. He wrote a report on L'Arche's confinement, or the type of evidence L'Arche was using to confine Paul against his will, against his stated wishes to visit with me. But that report, I paid him for the report using the GoFundMe account, but it was not it was not admitted because the report came in too late to be admissible. But I would like to thank everybody who's contributed to the GoFundMe account, which is still open. I've had costs awarded against me in the Court of Appeal of British Columbia, in the Supreme Court of British Columbia, and also if I'm granted leave to appeal the Supreme Court of Canada, there's a security fund that you have to file of $525. but I'd like to thank everybody that we're currently at $1,035 in the GoFundMe account, and that's 25% of my goal of $4,000. So we're at the 25% mark. Please consider contributing to the GoFundMe account. As I said, we still have the outstanding expenses of costs awarded against me by the court at the Court of Appeal of British Columbia and the Supreme Court of British Columbia. And I also need to raise the security deposit for the Supreme Court of Canada in the event that we are granted leave to appeal in the Supreme Court of Canada. Where the judge left things after the hearing last week, as he said that he will deliver his decision on September 6th, 2023. That's 28 days away. And he, as I understood it, recommended that we try and settle, that my sister and I try and settle. He said that L'Arche could not unilaterally terminate Paul's visits with me or isolate or confine Paul. And the judge recommended, as my understanding, although I don't have it in writing, my understanding was that he recommended that my sister and I try and settle this case before coming before him on September 6th. And I've contacted my sister's lawyer and asked to resume our visits on some basis, whether it's supervised visits, to resume our in-person visits on some basis. And so this video, as of the filming of this video, I have not heard back from my sister's lawyer. I'm very concerned about Paul. As I said in my last telephone visit with him, he sounded groggy, sedated. He didn't sound his normal perky self. I miss him terribly. I know 3 of my siblings have passed away of our family of 9. There's only 6 left. Both my parents have passed away. All of the children in my father's family have passed away. All of the children in my mother's family have passed away, and all of their spouses have passed away. So life is fleeting, and it's important to take advantage of every chance you can get to show your loved ones that you love them. And I really miss Paul terribly. I went to McDonald's today and I got a Happy Meal, as I often do. And the Happy Meal comes with a little book. And so I got Paul another book. I go to the Coquitlam Library on a regular basis, about once a month. And I check out books for him, and then I bring them back without ever having read them to him. Please consider contributing to our GoFundMe account. As I said, there's outstanding legal costs that I owe, unless they're set aside, that we can settle, that I owe my sister's very wealthy, very land wealthy community. So, but the outstanding expense at this moment is the security fee for the Supreme Court of Canada, the $525 security fee. Again, thank you everybody for your love and support. Paul, I miss you so much. I just feel that I'm going to see you soon. Our court hearing where we'll get our decision is coming up very soon on September 6th at 9 a.m. And I hope to visit with you before then. I miss you so much, dear, and I hope you're doing okay. Take care. Bye, everybody.